Why did so many Americans march for George Floyd and demand that Black Lives Matter, and not one of them cares, pumping graduates in name only into an already struggling America where they would be struggling to make a living with two hands tied behind their backs? Hello, America. I'm Pastor Corey Brooks. From the south side of Chicago to the nation's capital, this is Rooftop Revelations. Many of you know me as the Rooftop Pastor. I recently spent 343 days living on top of a roof through Chicago's cold and heat to bring awareness to the violence and to raise money for this much needed community center that you see being built behind me. And because of the many donations from Americans just like yourself, we are raising the needed funds for this glorious leadership and economic community center. We aim nothing less than the full transformation of Chicago's most violent block, O Block, into Opportunity Block. Here we discuss issues, local to national, from the streets to the Capitol. For you who have been on the journey with us, welcome back. And if this is your first time watching Rooftop Revelations, we're glad you're joining us for this latest edition of Rooftop Revelations. Over a year ago, I read the news that 23 public schools in Baltimore reported that not a single one of their students were proficient in math at their grade level. That was exactly 2,000 students who were not proficient. It gets worse. An additional 20 schools had only 1 or 2 students who were on grade level in math, and not one high school student in the whole city of Baltimore scored a 4, the highest possible score. Though this news may be old, the reality is not. If you think this is a problem that affects only certain kinds of Americans or certain neighborhoods, but you be wrong. This is the future of America, and Baltimore is just the worst case scenario. Schools all over America are failing our kids and pumping functionally literate graduates into our cities. The reason why I've been thinking about this Baltimore situation of late is that it shows how dysfunctional our society has become. Most of the news articles that I read show citizens blaming the city, the local and state governments, and the educators. They are right to do so, but shouldn't they be blaming themselves instead? I say this because all the blaming is getting us nowhere. The government officials and educators simply do not care. They see the problems that are right in front of them, but rarely do few take the necessary actions to right the ship. It is sometimes stunning to see how they have no shame when it comes to failing kids. Too many of them hide behind the excuse of this is white supremacy's fault. Then there are those who blame politicians. They say if only you would stop voting Democrat. There are plenty of failing schools in GOP strongholds. My point here is that politicians are not the answer to the problem. They're just politicians. But what I do see here is enough families taking responsibility for their kids. There are parents out there who are outraged and challenging the system. But it's not enough. Where are the boycotts? Where are the shutdowns? Where are the marches around the schools? Some parents tell me they're trying to work within the system. I've seen them try. God bless them. But they haven't gotten anywhere. They then get tired out, or their kids graduate and they give up and the problem still remains. Why did so many Americans march for George Floyd and demand that Black Lives Matter, and not one of them cares, pumping graduates in name only into an already struggling America where they would be struggling to make a living with two hands tied behind their backs? Why do we care about the theater of racism far more than we do about the transformative power of education? For the life of me, I cannot understand why education is not the #1 focus today. Just weeks ago, the media was all abuzz about Vice President Harris stealing Donald Trump's idea about not taxing the tips of the wait staff. Our house is literally burning down, and that's what we're talking about? Wait staff? All of these failures among our leaders should be clues to our parents that they are truly on their own. If they want their child to have a chance in life, they cannot trust them to these so-called authorities. They need to stop giving up their most precious commodities, their children, to the people who simply do not care. What happened in Baltimore proves the absolute failure of the education system that pays its employees hundreds of thousands of dollars. And what it also proves is that too many parents deferred the responsibility of raising their kids to the state. I don't care if they're working 2 or 3 jobs. Take care of your kids. I don't care what excuse there may be. Take care of your kids. Frederick Douglass and many other slaves learned how to read and do math under the oppression of slavery. There are no fancy schools or technologies, just pure will and the desire to learn and attain power through knowledge. Parents need to parent and pass along the gift of learning to their kids. Otherwise, be a statistic. This has been another Rooftop Revelation. God bless you and God bless America.